is we're going to talk about topside half guard. So we're going to move into topside half guard for a little bit. We're going to kind of look at this position for probably the next 6 weeks. All right, and so before we start that, we're understanding that most of the time when we think about half guard from the top perspective, we're thinking in terms of, oh no, my partner trapped me in half guard. Like I'm trying to pass their guard and they trap me in half guard. Oh no, I got to pass it. I want you to change how you think about that if that's how you think about half guard. I want you to think that I actually passed to their half guard. So I started their full guard of some kind, whether it's a closed or open guard, and I passed to their half guard. And then from their half guard, I pass. So it's almost a staging point. And so they didn't take half guard on us. We took topside half guard on them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the mentality changed a little bit. You don't look at it like, oh no, they got me in half guard. What do I do now? It's like, yes, they got me in half guard. I really passed there. Okay, let me back up. All right, let's talk a little bit about when we have a person in half guard, what we need to be thinking from the top position. So for this week, we're going to really be just studying the position, the do's, the don'ts, the rules of what I want to done. Now, obviously, I'm laying on him, but we're going to talk a little bit about his position here, about what he's wanting to do. So I have one leg trapped, but since we're thinking of it from our perspective, I'm actually trapping his leg. So instead of him trapping mine, trap my leg, just kind of wrap it like a triangle. Yeah. Instead of him doing this, I actually triangle his leg. So I've got his leg as opposed to him having mine. And so that's my mentality. Now the reason for this is there's a lot of reasons, but I'm actually locking his hip out with my pelvis. So I'm locking this in, I'm locking his hip out, making it very hard for him to be able to shrimp. Because let's be honest, the guard needs to have the ability to shrimp. I want to kill his ability to shrimp effectively. All right? So right now, if we just talk about this position, I'm going to use the lever of his femur to control his hips. So this femur right here is going to control his hips. I can't control a guy's hips and go crazy, but I can use a femur to do it. And so I'm going to use this femur to do that. Now, what does that mean to control his hips? Allowing him to only really be able to shrimp one direction. So unless if he had this arm under my leg, go under my leg with that arm, go under it. Yeah, he can now shrimp under me. Go ahead and shrimp under me. Go under me. Go the other way. Yeah, shrimp this way. Yeah. See how he can shrimp that way? But that's only because he had an arm under me. If he doesn't have that, try to shrimp under me, go that way, take a butt that way. Yeah, he can't do. Not really. He just can't go. He can shrimp that way, go and shrimp that way, but he clears his knee. Now when he clears his knee, and keep your foot in here, shrimp that way now. Now he can shrimp that way because his knee got clear because I lost the control of the femur. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want to maintain control of this femur the entire time. So however I do that, I'm going to control. What I do not want to do is I do not want to straighten my right leg or my inside leg and keep my outside leg bent. Because in doing that, he goes under it. He steps over my ankle with his left leg, step over my ankle, and he pulls me over his body. Oh, man. Nice, easy sweep there. Because that leg becomes long and it becomes a lever that he uses to control my hips. So how half guard works is I can use this lever to control his hips or he can use this lever to control my hips. So I kill his ability to use that lever by hiding my foot behind my knee here. Now he doesn't have the ability to do that. He can only really shrimp one direction. We already know that he cannot shrimp to his right. He can only shrimp to his left. Stay where you're at. He can only shrimp there. And so I can now predict ahead of time what he's doing and utilize that to get what I want. Now, there's basically two passes from the half guard. There's pass the side body. I'm just going to be goofy about it. I'm just going to step out. There's pass the side body here. And then there's pass the mount here. That's your two basic passes from that half guard. It's the opposite on the other side. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to set up. That's what I'm trying to accomplish from this top position. Is everybody tracking? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I want us to do here is I want us to get in this position here. I want us to go ahead and lock his femur with our hips. I don't want to turn my shoulders. He can have the underhook if he wants. I don't care. I want my head to kind of float above his humerus bone right out here. And I want to just have him move a little bit. I'm going to actually pull his knee up with my hips, my lower limbs, as he moves around, yo. I just want him to feel how unfun that is. Does that make sense? That's the only thing we're going to put. I can also take my hand and kind of turn his head a little bit. Yeah, kind of turn his head a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Just playing this game right here. I'm locking that foot and controlling that by hiding my ankle. I'm not leaving it out here because he'll step over the other foot. Yeah, this sucks. That's not what we want. It becomes straight. I want to hide it behind my knee, and if I go to step up, it's okay. It just stays down here. I hide my ankle the entire time. Never letting his leg get out. Make sense? Let's try that on 3. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of a grinding, wearing out kind of thing that takes place. That's what we're hoping to do, is we're hoping to create a scenario for the bottom guy where there's this frustrating, I feel pressure on me, I feel like I'm just getting kind of crushed, and and just really uncomfortable. I can't really move, I can't do stuff. And so then the person starts to become desperate with things. Now, we're gonna secure the position even more. So when I get this position here, I'm gonna look, as I'm here, to pull the lapel out of his belt down here. So if you look over here, Ben has this, the V of the gi here, okay? This is what I'm hoping to get access to on the top part of his belt, okay? So when he's here, he can have the underhook. I'm cheating over top of his humerus bone, because if I'm here, he can start using that underhook to bridge into me. Boom, he bridges into me, I have to put my hand out. I'm still controlling his femur though, look at that, I didn't stop doing this. And here's the beauty of this whole thing, that when he bridges like this, he's got to do something with it, because I can start to get out of this guy to the back. Okay, but ultimately I'm cheating over here to prevent that, because I'm looking to try to pull his lapel out of his belt. Now, I need to pull the bottom part of it out to get the front part of it out. The problem is when we try to get the front part out, it's so hard to get this out of here. Why? Because the gi is all laying on top of each other and I'm laying on it, just a lot of friction. But the part that's not being laid on is the back part. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to pull, I'm snaking the back piece out. I pull the belt down until I can get my thumb inside the little opening of the V. Once I get my thumb inside the opening of the V, I pull the back part out first. 1, 2, I get it out. Once the back comes out, the front comes out, no problem. And now I pull it out, I get the sucker out. And he's fighting with me the whole time. I'm sitting here fighting this, I'm squeezing his leg, keeping that guy in there until I can get this piece here. Once I have it here, I now force it to my hand here. Now we're in game. He's starting to feel the pressure. Now he can have this underhook, no problem. I'm gonna pull the underhook, drive my deltoid into his neck, and I'm gonna start to push my head towards the mat over here as I squeeze. Okay. It puts a lot of pressure on the carotid artery right here. It is a choke that will put the person to sleep. Okay. And it's very deceiving, because it's like, dude, I'm in half guard. I shouldn't be able to get choked here. The problem is that the pressure is perfect, because the diagonal, it creates perfect pressure on that carotid artery. When I get in this position, if I was in side body and he had the underhook, he can prevent, tuck the chin and prevent. He can move his hips and it creates problems for me. Look, he starts to get his guard back. But the fact that I'm in half guard, I control the structure of the position and I can apply pressure to his neck, and there's nothing he can do about it. I can put pressure on his carotid artery. So back to what we're doing. This is tucked in, right? This is tucked in. He may have the underhook or I may have the underhook. If he has the underhook, all is not lost. I've just got to cheat to his humerus bone out here. I got to counterbalance myself. So the diagonal becomes less up and down and more sideways here, okay? I pull the back piece out, I pull the front piece out. I pull it tight and pass it to my hand back here. I set my shoulder on his neck right here. I grab his tricep, I pull the underhook tight, and I push my weight over top here. There's that choke right on the neck. Sucks bad. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the obvious question is do I have to get this lapel out? Because sometimes that's a pain. And then also, can this be done no gi? Can I do it without the gi? So we can learn no gi grips for the same thing. This can be done no gi. Let's be honest, getting this lapel out gives us a lot more control in other areas of this position, right? It just makes the position really tight on the guy to get this lapel out. But let's say that I can't get this lapel out and I'm here. What I have to do is I have to reach, I'm gonna grab into his armpit right here. I'm gonna try to get a finger in his armpit. Really kind of get a hold of this lat muscle deltoid kind of connection area here. If I can get a hold of that, kind of stick my finger in there, I can do the same tricep grab, and do the same rotation over. And I can still hit the same choke. It's the same choke, it doesn't change. So again, just because I don't want, maybe I don't have enough time or whatever, I go and I reach, I've got to get around, I reach and I grab right behind. You can just where the crease of the armpit and the lat muscle meet right there. I get my like middle finger in there. Right there, I'm good right now, I have it. I give him the underhook, I pull tight on the underhook, I take my head towards the mat and drive. There's the choke, tap.